Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft. And look around, chess monsters as Scar would call them. I was watching one of his videos, he was laughing at all the shulker boxes calling them chess monsters, and I was like, yep, we got some of those ourselves cropping up here in the middle of what is going to be our new shop. We're going to be working on this to begin with in this episode. I've got not much else to talk about. I've just been playing on the server and building things up around the place. We've got the front of this build kind of done at the bottom level. You can see there are some walls going up between our towers, and I'm not so sure about the roofs there. The roofs are something we're going to tackle this episode, but we've got this kind of formation here of walls and fences holding back this stuff, whatever it is, tarmac on the other side, and throwing around a few carpets as well, just to change the height in places and add a little bit of variety to the texture there. So all of this stuff on this side is pretty much the same. Changed that back to bricks there and adjusted some little minor things here and there to try and make the whole build look more cohesive. Now as we head to the back here, you'll see that this corner is looking really good. When we step back, that is a very nice look. I do wonder though, do I want to consistently mix it in with the granite that we got over here? It looks good on this front, but I feel like this looks very nicely structured and it might actually look out of place over here. Now what does look out of place is these end bricks. I like the structural shape, I like what's going on here, but the end bricks bring in another colour, and although they match with the bricks themselves, I think it doesn't really match the overall theme here. So we need to figure out what material we're going to use instead there. In fact, maybe we leave it open because it's got a bit of a barnyard vibe over on this side. Anyway, in this corner it's mirrored again, and then over here there's not too much to talk about. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. What I want to start doing is building the roofs. I feel like we've got most of the sides done, and so I've been building up the roofs a little bit and creating some stone brick layouts up here, because what we want to do is kind of extend this building even higher up into the sky. But as we do that, I've noticed that I'm tending to level things out at the same height, and as we build this up, I think it's really important that different slopes kind of collide with one another so that we have a very interesting looking roof area. And I think that's the first thing that we'll challenge today. We're gonna work on the roof. I've been studying this build. It is a very beautifully crafted build, and what I've realized is that the roofs don't slope across from the front of the building like ours would go across like that. They go up and down, and that just makes such a perfect opportunity to have something else that's higher up raised here in the middle. So as I rotate around, you can again see that the roof goes across this way, and it just works really well the way these have been arranged. So we've got to take inspiration from this build again and try and work these sort of shapes and this arrangement into what we're going to do. I think this would now be a good opportunity to do a camera account fly around, because I've made a ton of progress with all the building here. Lots of stuff has happened, lots to talk about. In front of us we can see this roof is a lot smaller, and that's so that we can have this facade up front pop out. And one of the things that it's done is tidied up this little gap between the two roofs really nicely, because those bricks can just extend up into this space. But over on this side, it leaves a little gap here that looks kind of odd, and that's there so that the roofs can line up. Maybe what we'll do is just push this out one more block, the edge of the roof here, so it can kind of disguise that oddity. Over here though, you can see the roof gets bigger rather than smaller, and it goes in between the towers up here. And if we swing round to the other side, you can kind of see the tops here, because we've done this up and down kind of design like we saw on the other build. Now this front over here looks a little bit odd because we've got the remnants of the last roof design, and you don't really see too much of the roof here. The stone bricks are matching the towers. I'm not sure how we're going to make that look good. That is one of our challenges. Also, yes, the stacks, the pillars, whatever you want to call them, they are now taller. I've made them a fair bit taller, which is kind of cool. Over on this side, we'll see that I've taken the roof we had, which was mirrored from the other side, and then extended it around the front here, and it lines up really nicely with this building, and then it goes back around again. And I think what we might do with this space is actually leave it so we have a big roof hangover and have some empty space and keep our wall in the same spot. That'll be a challenge to make it look structurally interesting. Now coming all the way around to this side, we have some bricks here that I'm not sure are going to survive or not, but I've got a really good idea of what's going to happen up above. As you can see, we've taken this concept with the roof here and we've made it kind of create some space for us to then build on top of. This is the last part of the challenge to figure out the whole thing. So up here we're going to have the tallest room that's going to have a look over Gryan's base, and I think the slope that I've drawn out here, which will be the roof, is maybe 1 or 2 blocks too high. So it's just going to go down across here. We're going to end up with some corner spaces, and there's very little left to do now. Most of the concept is there. We just got to tidy up all the rough edges and make everything work together. So my friends, everything is good in terms of shape and layout, and I think the only thing left for this structure is the refinement of the block palette. It gets a little bit brick heavy up top, and a lot of what's up top is also lacking detail. As you can see over here, these shapes are finally figured out with the roofs in place, but they're very boxy, and that's because they're not finished. Also, this one on the top here looks great from this side over here. I love everything about this area, but I think maybe what we need to do is cut the roof off somewhere here in the middle and have it slope down so it hangs just on top of those windows. And maybe those windows are a little smaller as well, so it can have more of this kind of look from the side, because it just looks a little bit odd. But that's the only odd thing really. Everything else has come together ever so well. One of the things I did with the gap we had over here was just put some stair blocks going across, and it kind of worked really well. It also led into these little spaces right here, which I think look okay. And yeah, everything's laid out really well. And there's also this down here. So I've built all of it up. We've got a rough idea of where things are going to go. And this here is because I did say that I wanted to put an entrance on both sides, and this one's higher up. That one's lower down, but you'll access this from somewhere over here. So maybe we'll work on that path next. Actually, I think that's going to be it from me on this project for this episode. We will, of course, continue it in the next one. I've been having a bit of a rough time down here. I think creepers have been spawning on these little ledges up top, and then they've been falling down and blowing up. They've been blowing up my shulker boxes, and they blew up my bed as well. But what's really weird is that my backup bed went missing from my backpack as well. Maybe I'd actually put both of them out and not realised it. So anyway, I can't sleep away the night in this horrible weather, but it doesn't really matter because we're done here for now. So we've just discovered that the new server that we're on has some sort of feature where you type time and then it tells you the time. That is in the time zone that it is installed though. It's early in the morning for me, so it's a few hours ahead of that. Anyway, I'm over here to grab some food and also comment on the packed ice walls. I got loads of comments saying that this looked ugly. I'd agree, it does look ugly. It is just one part of a mega build that we're doing here. So when you see the full picture, why this is all packed ice should make a lot more sense. Just kind of wanted to clear that up. Looks like there is a haunted house, a graveyard and a mausoleum in the Halloween area. We'll check that out all in detail when we get closer to Halloween, I think. We are here to do our episode ritual of dropping off a prize, and I've got a really good one today. I've got something really valuable, which I'm happy about. And I didn't brainstorm it, I just noticed it in a chest, and I thought, yes, that will definitely go in there. A stack of name tags. That is definitely a very valuable prize. So in it goes. So clearly I'm no longer on Hermitcraft. We are actually on play.xisumavoid.com. This is the Ice Farm competition world, and because the competition has now ended, it's whitelisted, and me and the staff are the only people that can get on here. Now it will be opened up again in the future in spectator mode, which means you can fly around and check out all of the plots for yourself. Now what I need to do is I need to pick out my 5 favourites, and then there's going to be a vote at the end of this video. You can choose which of the 5 favourites I'm actually going to build on Hermitcraft. So you can see we're over here in the corner, because when you claim a plot it works its way out from the middle. So by being here in the corner I can guarantee that I will see every single plot if I fly over from one side to the other, move across and then fly back again. And what I'm going to do is very briefly talk about plots that catch my eye. But then I will also be keeping count of a short list of the plots that I would consider building, and I will narrow that short list down to 5, and we will check out those 5 at the end of the video. So to start off with, there's actually 2 builds right here that I think are super interesting. We got Creeper Dude right here with the water cooler. I just think that's hilarious, a really fun design. And then next to it, Herder has built a really nice structure, a good set of blocks here. I like the leaves dangling over the build, and the way this whole thing has been put together is very, very nice, but it wouldn't really suit the industrial area, right? And that is something you're going to hear me say a lot. We've got a giant glass of lemonade over here with some ice in, or maybe it's actually iced tea, which would be kind of comical considering this was made by Ren TT. It's a cool build, and I love the comical ones, but as I said, it won't really suit the industrial area, but this over here would. This is made by The Slide, and I really like the build palette here. There's a nice balance of blocks, there's a plentiful amount of detail around the sides of the walls, and I think the roof shape looks really good here as well. We have a build here from Christoph, which is pretty fantastic. It speaks for itself. This giant ice cube not being a perfect cube with the clamps on the side just has a real nice vibe about it, but it's when you go inside that it looks really magical. Look at the lighting that's been used here, and also some consideration for how it would work in survival Minecraft. There are these little platforms around the edge that you could hop onto to mine from different levels. Overall, I think this one is pretty superb. And Schwaderfirm is over here building a Viking Efo who is slamming his hammer into all of the ice. Very amusing. I've got to mention Nonken's plot here purely because it has this mini statue of Hermity on top of it, and it's been scaled down possibly as small as you can get it, and it looks fantastic. I need an excuse to build this here somewhere on Hermitcraft. Maybe it could go in the Nether Hub. Well, there are some plots that speak for themselves, right? This one was made by Kobold Doozy. The level of detail, the amount of stuff that's going on here, the plane flying over at the top, the smoke, the flat, this is just on the next level. I think this is a fantastic build right here. It really is. If you've seen the guitar videos on my second channel, this is going to make a lot of sense. It is basically my guitar. It's been built by Graceful, one of the staff here on the server, and I love this. Oh, I had to show it in the video. It's so cool. And then over here we have a giant ice cream cone made by Nime. I love this. This is such a funny idea to hide the ice farm inside of there, although I'm not sure if it would actually fit. Oh yeah, look at that, it would actually fit inside of there. I am really fond of this one. It was made by Debat, and I just love how it's really simple, but it focuses your attention on this idea of turning this into like a miniature globe. Now, the ice block that it creates isn't a square shape, which is unfortunate, but then again the globe is circular. But I love the way that green just sits around the ice. The water and the land of the planet looks so good. I can't look at it. Look, it's Ice Cube. It's literally Ice Cube. I didn't get it until I looked at the hat, and then I was just like, oh my. Oh, it's literally Ice Cube. Here's another comical one. 22 Demmed with a skeleton dude, you know, turned into a skeleton waiting for all the ice to form, maybe. There's a cluster of plots here. We have a really nice big build from Togis, and then from Sky behind it. I'm very fond of the scale of this one. This feels very right for the industrial area. Over here, though, this is made by one of the builders of our staff team, and it is just, wow, grabs your attention, right? There's also some signs in the inside pointing out that the ice needs access to Sky in order to turn into ice. So these builds are going to require an opening in the roof, which is what this one here has, the Frost Forge. This was also built by one of the staff Fallen, and what an animated build. It says so much. I think this really could be a contender to go on the Hermitcraft server. This plot is by Prion Tretz, and I love the shape of the building and the use of the end bricks. It really actually works quite well with this build, and I love the pillars at the top. Unfortunately, no access for the ice to actually turn into ice. Captain Ghoulie over here felt like making a baby juggling ice, and it's got a derpy old face, hasn't it? As I'm flying around, I realised that the ice forms where this gap is, which I didn't notice, of course. Not in the middle, because I'm noticing a lot of them have openings in the middle, but then this one that I wanted to mention has the openings in the side. This plot was by Say It Properly, and I've said it properly, I believe. You can see those openings right there for the ice to form. And this is just one heck of a build. I love it. I just think it's the wrong theme for the industrial area, but otherwise, beautiful build palette. Oh, really exotic build. I like this ever so much. That's a really cool plot. Sulking Soul has put together an ice chest, an ice box with a bottle of Sprite in it. Fair enough, that's a really unusual one. This plot by Domino deserves a mention just for being so cute and adorable. I don't know why the snowmen are holding torches. Wouldn't that melt them? Gotta give a shout out to Freedom Stuff for this cool build right here. It's a really nice one. I don't think the theme suits the industrial area, but what caught my attention were these lamps over here. There are loads of observer blocks making this magic happen behind. Just wanted to share that. It looks so cool. Stone Age 78. I love this. I love this. You've heard me say it. It's the industrial area. It's not the place for these sorts of builds, but Bigfoot just, hanging out on here, sitting on top of the ice block. Looks so cool. I Love Dogs gets a shout out for making a really cool build actually. The more I look at this one, the more I like it. But using the gravel design that I used in the turtle farm and also some of the little indents for the stone bricks, really like that they've taken what I've done over there and added in some new blocks and kind of built a new building out of that concept. I'm really fond of this one. It's really good. I've seen a few Bumbonis here and there. This one's alright. This one might be the best one I've seen so far. Do you guys have a name for this one? Throw a name down there in the comments. This one really deserves showing. This was made by Oliver Tech. I like the scale. I love the enthusiastic use of colour here and the details. There's just a lot nice to be said about this one. It's a really cool, nice little build. I really like Antonio's plot here. The size of the build feels just about right. Maybe there's a little bit too much greenery on the ground, but otherwise I'm liking everything I see here. There is even an iced tea drink at the front there, but best of all, I like the advert on the side. Buy X-Kelp. It's good. Seb Yep here has put together a pretty spectacular build that's sort of like industrial meets temple. It's giving me some Aztec temple vibes, but man, I'm loving the whole of this thing right here. It's really cool. XD, XP, X3 has put together a very wintry build here with a lovely use of colour and theming from flowers. I've said it so many times, it's not very industrial, but I'm loving these weird clouds of green, blue and purple as well. This is a very nice build right here. Max H has put together an extraordinary steampunk style build here that totally deserves a shout. Look at this. Wow. I'm loving this one. This is really creative. Honey Nut Weirdos has built Shrek. And Shrek is trying to steal my ice. Don't you dare, Shrek. Oh. Papyrus Men gets a shout for this very colourful and really nicely detailed plot right here. The best thing about it, though, is that there is a woolly mammoth busting out of the ice farm. Deathinator 808 has built a couple of Endermen with their construction gear on, doing their very best to pick up an ice block. Silly Enderman, we all know you can't pick up ice blocks. I really like this one. It's made by Formansky, and I just love how there's roofs all over the place. It just feels like these little slopes have been thrown in left, right and centre, and there's lots of pipes, and what I like most about the pipes is how they have this bit of glass coming off the side. Kind of makes it feel like they're cold and frozen, you know. And as I go to hit record, what is that I see? It is me in ice form. Fair enough. This plot here by Dynamic Diode, I like this. It's like a shipping yard with a bunch of shipping containers, a crane. Just really like the colour of this and the use of the banners with the letters. It's not what I'm going to build, but I really like it. I found another icy Bigfoot sitting on a block of ice. This one looks like it's pondering something. So it's been a few hours and I've gotten through every single plot. It's been a lot of fun. I've got a short list of names that I now need to narrow down to 5, and then I'll show you these 5 and we will have some voting. I do want to say though, a massive thank you to everyone who participated. There were a lot of really fantastic builds here, and of course I didn't show them all in this video. I just showed the ones that I had the time to show, you know. Otherwise this video would be hours and hours long. So your first of 5 voting options is for Prazzle's plot here, Ice Ice Baby. I'm loving this one. It feels really nice. It hasn't tried to squeeze itself into all of the space available. There is a forklift truck around the back. It feels animated and lived in with these pipes and the steam coming out with the cobwebs. And we got a crane, of course. I do like the cranes, as you're about to find out. So that is option number 1. Option number 2 is Wiki_I. And this plot has a crane on it. I am fond of the cranes. And it's a very grey build, but I feel like it just loads in enough detail. We've got a loading truck down here at the front. Around the side there's not too much, but at the back we have our brick tower, some pipes going around the place, and overall I feel like this is a really balanced build. Your third option is red bow patch. There is a lot of stone bricks in this build, but I feel like the shape of it is what's really working. And of course there is a crane, which I am fond of. I'm liking the smoke with the cobwebs. I'm really liking this down here with the glazed terracotta. That is a nice texture to include in this build. And overall its shape and the use of blocks feels like it would really fit into our industrial area. Option number 4 is double Moses with another stone brick heavy build. There is a lot of grey on this one, and I think it's well done because when colour is used it highlights the details, like this bay here, the control centre up there, and there are lots of details put on the shape of this building. I really like the sign, which I would probably make a little bit smaller and change to ice, and I'm also fond of this hazard tape up the top here. Last but not least, we have Corsin with a very large build. I wanted to include something on the larger scale for those of you that want to see that. And this one right here I feel like has the right balance of materials and a subtle use of bricks that would make it fit really well into the industrial area on Hermitcraft. So this is your 5th option if you want to see a giant build. So when this video goes live, you should be able to have access to the Ice Farm world again if you want to fly around and look at those builds that you'll be voting for. And look in the top right of your screen for the iCard. You can now cast your vote. I'd recommend watching over those a couple of times just so you can take in the build and pick the one that is your favourite. I will then be building it here on Hermitcraft, and I think what I'll start out by doing is building it during a live stream and maybe even completing it and then showing it complete in a video. Something like that. But anyway, that's it from me this episode of Hermitcraft. I do hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like as always. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you soon with another one. Bye bye.